Okay, so this is our tree. These are our roots and blah blah. I just made this up, but I think it works generally. System versus people. That kind of horizontal axis. I think that's how we were grouping it. I don't see anyone being really angry at me, so I'm just going to go ahead with that. Okay. So yeah, what you said about responsibility, I think that comes under lack of ideological thinking, which we put down here. Okay, Lucas. So I'll start with the problem. I'll start with the problems in the system. So we thought there's too little pro-neglected disease PPPs, and in public-private partnerships, and in the same way there's too much capitalistic industry influence, so they're too much geared towards money and not towards PPPs. There's not enough there's not enough ideological thinking, and then after that, there's not enough sustainable ideological action. Our discussion was that I thought this is probably the case in the UK and maybe Germany, that there's too much thinking, and then after you get the thinking in place, then in Norway and Denmark, which are progressive Scandinavian countries, then I don't know why that's associated with that gesture, but then there you need more sustainable ideological acting. So then, kind of in the middle of that, and more to do with uni management, basically, there's a lack of knowledge of the uni system structure, like where do you plug in and what do you target within this system. Sorry? You could just add something if I'm getting something wrong.
No, that's the same. We replaced one.
Okay. This is the same. Okay. Lack of, and we're also we don't have enough knowledge about what the university's plan of action is, what their actual strategy is. Yeah. Then moving closer to, then we're in people, like the kind of basic, people, researchers and students basically, and public maybe. So we think prestige is not linked enough with the impact of what you're doing. So there's impact factors, and all these, heart disease people will cross-reference each other a million times and increase the impact factor, where maybe that's...
Sorry, I can't comment yet. Sorry.
Then it's not, I think this is really empowerment, kind of student-based, but it's an unpopular specialty. Tropical medicine or neglected diseases is not a popular specialty. I don't think many universities don't have one, and then and maybe if they do have one, that faculty or that part of the university is probably weak, or is weak a lot. So you could collaborate directly. Sorry, we're not in solutions to any of those problems. Then it's underrepresented in the university syllabus, and there are often not big enough university societies, so groups of students who do stuff about that, who are interested. And then there's maybe lack of nice evidence to use. I think there are, a small bunch of papers that we use all the time, 1% of global R&D, blah, blah. But you could have other forms of evidence which we could use better. And also UAMers also don't know enough about it. I think that's what that point is saying. So all of these build kind of into a lack of general awareness. And then we identified the core problem as a lack of pressure on or from relevant people. And this white color indicates a controversial issue, and the controversial issue is whether the most relevant people for us to tackle are those at the bottom, students and people on the street, or students, maybe not people on the street, or whether the more important, yes, people on the street, okay, or whether the most relevant people are the people at the top, whether you go top down or bottom up, general political question. Lack of pressure on or by relevant people. And then the whatever this is called, the leaves. In the system there is too little funding for it, national and at universities there is too little funding for it also, that's a joke. There's too little financial incentive. National charities don't focus on promoting R&D, they focus on let's have more money to buy existing bad treatments or whatever. Lack of sustainable systems for R&D. Lack of support from the university for that research. Lack of continuity versus human, I don't know, what does this mean? Someone tell me what this means.
That was more UN perspective and also at the university perspective. because
So,
we
so
were
it's
trying
often
to
driven
take-
by a small group of people, and when they go
Yeah.
away, it's not continued.
Yeah.
And
the universities level.
yeah, and there's a lack of cooperation between European universities, which there could be, especially in these global questions.
Yeah.
What?
That should be more by the room stuff right there.
Okay, cool. Is that okay?
Thanks.
So our core sort of argument was, who do we have to influence to build pressure on, to get more money into this whole thing? Is it the people? Do we have to engage students, and do we have to get this sort of democratic movement, or does it make more sense to sort of deal with politicians and to deal with that was kind of our stuff, right?
It was because, in Switzerland, they do a lot of things where students can do a really great impact on the politicians. And in Denmark, it can be really hard to push the politicians. Sometimes you have to do totally, maybe the EU system, or the politician in the Danish system should push the EU system to get that implemented. So,
In the end, it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah, in the end, I think we agreed that it's both. It's both targeting Republican students and targeting, strategically targeting politicians, which would then lead to a sort of change in the political atmosphere and in more funding.
And it would take care of all the problems. basically.
Yeah, so that would change everything.
And to change that, you have to raise awareness by students, and it kind of takes care of all the problems from the back. To sort of get these people to think ideologically, get the students involved, and then you can fix the...
Oh, is it okay to say? What is it, questions or comments, or both?
I would take 3 questions.
I think that's very interesting. Actually, you put a focus on who we have to influence, and not like how to change current R&D system, how to or how to put more money in it. So you focus on who to influence, and then this will solve more money for neglected disease and another R&D system, because those people will change, right? Is that was more of a clarification?
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. That's
Very utilitarian.
So what?
What is
emotional?
actually what I really would like to know is, where do you see universities in this process? Is it only? I mean, you don't know. This could be people from universities or politicians or both. Could it be everything?
Yeah.
Okay, so no special focus on universities in this tree.
No, there's a
Yeah,
lot of
it
focus
is.
on universities, but the point is of this point
Huh?
is that you can identify which the people are. But I think our main point, which you also identified, is that in this question we propose we should act as a lobbying group.
Yeah.
Like that's the point,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Putting
how
pressure
it
on things is lobbying, and you can choose who that is. If you're in Switzerland, you can try and get a big referendum. If you're in the UK, you can try and influence MPs or heads of faculty.